Hello and welcome to Becoming an ECE, an information session hosted by the Association of Early Childhood Educators in Newfoundland and Labrador. So I'm going to start with a land acknowledgement. AECENL acknowledges the island of Takmakuk as the unceded traditional territory of the Beothuk and the Mi'kmaq. We also acknowledge Labrador as the traditional and ongoing home of the Innu of Natwishish and Sheshashi, the Inuit of Nunatsiavut, and the Inuit of Nunatukavut. The website you see on your screen, called Whose Land, is a beautiful website to research more information on the history of the land on which you reside. So my name is Haley Grimes. I am AECENL's navigator. I hold a diploma in early childhood education from the College of the North Atlantic, a degree in early childhood studies from Toronto Metropolitan University, formerly Ryerson University in downtown Toronto. Experience in center-based care is primarily my background, but I also have experience as an early learning specialist with a small social enterprise here in St. John's, and as the AECENL orientation course specialist as Renee Harding's maternity leave before I took on the navigator position. So I do want to start with how AECENL supports ECEs in the field. There are a variety of things, both center stage as well as behind the scenes, that AECENL does to support ECEs working on the floor, as well as just all of those working in the field of early learning and childcare, in professionalization of the field, and in support of the field of early learning and childcare in general. So collaboration with others, community partners such as colleges, universities, government organizations, community organizations like the Association of New Canadians. That is a large part of what we do here. Certification is something that the government of Newfoundland and Labrador has sort of put on our plates to deal out to those within the province. Anyone who is coming to the field of early learning and childcare in Newfoundland and Labrador must be certified as an ECE with AECENL in order to be able to work in a regulated childcare setting anywhere in this province. The medical benefits program that was recently updated or became available in the province goes through AECENL on behalf of the government of Newfoundland and Labrador. Professional learning is a large part of what we do here at AECENL in providing a wide variety of options as well as systems within which to access professional learning as ECEs. Financial incentives such as bursaries and grants is another piece of what AECENL provides on behalf of the government of Newfoundland and Labrador. Advocacy for ECEs is sort of primarily what we do. That's kind of our big piece here at AECENL, advocating for early learning and childcare professionals, advocating for professionalization of the field and for the field in general. Scholarships and awards such as the ECE of the Year Award and the Joanne Juteau Scholarship, our annual monetary awards that we provide to individuals, and then providing individual advice. So anyone who is currently an ECE looking to upgrade their certification, looking for guidance in professional learning, anyone coming into the field for the first time, a big part of what we do here at AECENL is guiding individuals in their journey to becoming the ECE that they want to be. All right, so today we're going to talk about being an early childhood educator in Newfoundland and Labrador. How can you become an ECE in this province? Childcare services certification, regulated care versus family childcare, the association, as well as family childcare connections, and then any useful resources and links. I'm going to essentially do a very brief overview of the concept of becoming an ECE for you all today, and I'll give some opportunities for you to learn more about who you can contact if you have more specific questions or concerns regarding anything in particular that I discuss. So where can an early childhood educator find employment? Depending on your post-secondary education, which indicates your level of certification, there are a wide variety of options for early learning and childcare professionals to work in the province of Newfoundland and Labrador. So like I said, depending on your level of certification, some options include regulated childcare, which would be center-based or family childcare, pre-kindergarten programs, family resource programs, and recreational programs, consultants within the Department of Education of the Government of Newfoundland and Labrador, public school system work as student assistants or teacher learning assistants, agencies providing services for children, or as ECE instructors at post-secondary institutions. So depending on your educational background and what level you receive through certification at AECENL, there can potentially be a wide variety of options outside of the regulated childcare center and family childcare based work. So what is the difference between a regulated childcare center and a regulated family childcare? Essentially, the biggest difference is that regulated childcare center is a business, it's an entity where there might be a variety of rooms, a variety of age groups, a variety of ECEs all working together with an administrator. That can look different depending on the size of the building, depending on the groups. But essentially, the greatest difference is that family childcare is a business that you're running within your home. It only has one employee, I guess, one ECE, and it is perhaps a room or a section of your home, maybe a basement apartment, what have you, that has been specifically dedicated and registered as a child care space, and that is considered family child care versus regulated child care services are in an exterior building with a specific purpose of being a child care center exclusively. So what is needed to work in an early learning setting? You need childcare services certification, which you are getting from the Association of Early Childhood Educators exclusively within this province. Your childcare services certification is based on post-secondary education that you have specific to the field of early learning and childcare. If you don't have any post-secondary education in the field of early learning and childcare, the association here has orientation courses that you can complete to sort of begin your journey to becoming certified, at which point then you will be required to go on and complete post-secondary education to be certified. First aid and CPR, records checks with vulnerable sector checks from the RNC, and then your immunization record. It's important to note that for childcare services certification in this province, we exclusively look at post-secondary education related to early learning and childcare. We don't look at work experience or anything like that. And we don't need your first aid, CPR, records check, or immunization record. Those three pieces are required by your employer, wherever you plan on working, but aren't required by us here at the association. All right, and another important difference to understand is working in a licensed childcare center as an ECE versus working in the school system as a teacher. They are not the same thing. They are not transferable. They are two different types of post-secondary education and two different work environments. So to work in a licensed childcare center, you need to have valid childcare services certification, and that is to work in a childcare center, a regulated family home, or a pre-kindergarten program. And your childcare services certification is based on post-secondary education in early childhood education. Versus working in a school system as a teacher, you require a valid Newfoundland and Labrador teacher certificate for anyone working in primary, elementary, or secondary schools in the province. And that is something that is based on your post-secondary education in elementary, primary, or secondary teaching that you would receive from the Teachers Association of Newfoundland and Labrador. That is not something that we do here at the Association of Early Childhood Educators. Our work is specific to the field of early learning and childcare, not the school system. So what does an early childhood educator earn? Well, we were recently provided with the ECE wage grid back in 2023. It says 2026 there on your screen, which is an important note that that reason being the wage grid will be reviewed this year by the government. And it's important to note that a review doesn't mean that the wage grid is going away. It just means that they're going to look at it, look at the feedback they've gotten, what's working, what's not working, and there's the potential there for changes to be made based on how it's been going over the past 3 years. So to understand the wage grid a little better, I'll just run through one example, that being someone who receives their level 1 certification based on their post-secondary education would start at the base rate of pay of $21.25 an hour. The steps that you see on your screen are based on your years of service in this province after you've received that level. So you begin at that base rate as soon as you receive your level 1 certification and begin working, and then you move up in the steps based on your years that you work with that level. If, for example, you were to reissue your certification and you've done more post-secondary education, you're eligible to receive a level 2 certification. Once you have received that level 2 certification, then you would start at the base rate of level 2 and move up through the steps through your years of service, beginning when you receive that level 2. All right. If you don't have any post-secondary education in the early learning and childcare field in this province, coming to work, there are a number of options available to you of programs within the province that you can apply for to complete that post-secondary education. So within our province, those options include Kean College, the College of the North Atlantic, and Academy Canada. Kean College and Academy Canada both offer an ECE certificate, which is a 1-year program, and that is available through daytime or online studies. And they also both offer an ECE diploma, which is a 2-year daytime or online study option. And the difference being that after completing an ECE certificate program at either of those colleges, you are eligible to then be certified as a level 1 through us here at the association, as long as you've met graduation requirements from that level 1 program, and then the 2-year diploma program, if you've completed everything and meet requirements for graduation from the 2-year program, you are then eligible to complete registration to be certified as a level 2. The College of the North Atlantic also offers those 1-year certificate and 2-year diploma program options, but they also have a couple of other options, including the Advanced Diploma in ECE Administration and Leadership, which is available only online right now, and the ECE Diploma is a prerequisite to that. Similarly, the Advanced Diploma in Advanced Studies in Inclusive Practice is a 1-year online program that also has the prerequisite of having already completed the ECE Diploma program. And they also have the Bachelor of Applied Arts in Early Childhood Education, which is a 4-year program available online via via online studies. So those are three options within the province that you can apply to complete early childhood studies post-secondary education. All right, I'm going to cover sort of a very general overview of childcare services certification, depending on your post-secondary education and sort of where you are in that schooling process. Things might be a little bit different for you, so it's important that if you have any questions more specific to what I'm talking about today, don't hesitate to reach out to Moitza or Michelle in our certification wing, and they will be able to answer more specific questions. So childcare services certification is a license to practice. It is a requirement for employment in regulated childcare centers or licensed family homes anywhere in the province of Newfoundland and Labrador. And it's based exclusively on post-secondary education in early childhood studies. It is valid for a specific period of time. It does expire depending on what level of certification you have, and does need to be renewed with any required documentation, such as school acceptance letters or professional learning hours, depending on your level. There are 3 certification processes, and they include initial certification, renewal of certification, and reissue of certification. If you have never applied for certification in the province of Newfoundland and Labrador before, the initial application is what you would fill out and submit to our offices to then be evaluated for certification and any further requirements that you have. Renewal of childcare services certification is the process and the application that you would fill out due to the fact that, as I mentioned, your childcare services certification is only valid for a certain period of time, no matter what level you have. And at the end of that period of time, a renewal process takes place that you are responsible for submitting to our offices well in advance. We take applications for renewals up to 3 months in advance of when they're required, and it's important to get those in nice and early, as there is a processing time required that we have due to the number of applicants that we receive each month. And it's also important to remember that should there be additional documentation required that you didn't already submit, having that little bit of sort of buffer space is quite important in submitting your renewal in advance. And then the third type of certification process that we complete is the reissue of certification. And that would be what you would do if you had completed additional post-secondary education in early learning and childcare studies that may grant you an additional level of certification, or if there's any update to your legal name on your certification, such as a marriage certificate or anything like that that needs updating, then you would complete a reissue of certification application. All right, so the other piece of childcare services certification are that we have levels of certification. There are 5 levels. The very basic level is the trainee level, and that is for those who have no post-secondary education in ECE. And the requirement there is the completion of an orientation course through the Association of Early Childhood Educators here, and then the subsequent submission of a post-secondary acceptance letter is required, as well as if you have no post-secondary education in early learning and childcare specifically, you will eventually need to go back to school and complete that post-secondary education no matter what. No one can remain at a trainee level of certification. One step up from trainee level is the level 1 certification that is indicative of having completed a 1-year ECE certificate from a recognized college or university meeting requirements for the level 1 certification. The certificate programs that I had previously mentioned from our local colleges would be included in that. The next step up is a level 2, which is your 2-year ECE diploma from a recognized college or university meeting requirements for level 2 certification. Then your level 3 is a little bit more complicated and nuanced. Your 3-year ECE diploma or degree from a recognized college or university, or a 2-year ECE diploma, and a 1-year post-diploma ECE specialization, or a 1-year ECE certificate and a 4-year university degree. And then your level 4 at the top is for a 4-year ECE degree from a recognized college or university, or a 2-year ECE diploma and a 4-year university degree. So aside from the local to Newfoundland and Labrador colleges and programs that I had mentioned previously, it's important to note that there are a plethora of other options for completing studies in early learning and childcare across the country and across the world, of course. But it's important to note that not every program may be accepted for certification here. So if you are looking into doing a program outside of the province and outside of what I previously listed, it's important to reach out to our certification wing and ensure that what you are looking into would qualify for the level of certification that you're looking to receive. Okay, and aside from our levels, we also have classifications within certification, and those are separated into center-based classifications and then family childcare-based classifications. So family childcare-based classifications, include mixed age classification as well as infant classification. And those are dependent on the post-secondary education that you have, similar to the center-based classifications, which include infant, preschool, pre-kindergarten, and school classification. So once again, depending on the level of post-secondary education, whether you've completed orientation courses or have any post-secondary in early learning and childcare studies, that will depend on whether some classifications are made eligible to you or not within your certification. The phone number and the emails you see on the screen there are for our certification wing. So should you have any more specific questions, any more nuanced situations than what I've discussed here, don't hesitate to reach out to Moitza and Michelle, and they will be able to guide you further in that process. Okay, I'm also going to speak on the bursaries and grants that AECENL offers on behalf of the government of Newfoundland and Labrador. So first off, we have the ECE trainee bursary. This offering is specific to those who hold valid trainee level childcare services certification, who are currently working in regulated childcare services in the province and are currently completing post-secondary ECE certification courses, ECE certificate courses through a provincially recognized post-secondary early childhood education program. So you have to be currently a valid trainee certification holder who is currently working in regulated childcare in this province, and you are actively completing courses to upgrade your certification. If so, if that's valid for you, then you would submit a copy of your transcripts once courses have been completed. And as soon as they're completed and you have those grades that show that you've completed those courses, you send those transcripts on into us, and you could potentially be eligible for a reimbursement of up to $250 for each successfully completed course. And you can do that just after each semester of your upgrading process. We also have the ECE Recruitment and Retention Grant. And the ECE Recruitment and Retention Grant is valid for those who hold a level 1 to a level 4 childcare services certification. Similarly to the way the trainee bursary was available to those who hold trainee, this is for those who hold level 1 to level 4. You have to be working in a regulated childcare service in our province, And at the time, that has to be relevant at the time of the application. And you may submit for your initial and renewal of level 1 to level 4. It isn't relevant for any reissue of certification specific to initials and renewals. And you can submit your recruitment and retention application with your renewal application. And excuse me, you can submit that to our offices and you may be eligible for $2,500 for the initial and each renewal period, up to a maximum total of $7,500. And the third option we have in the realm of bursaries and grants is the ECE on-campus field placement bursary. So this is available specifically to those who are enrolled in distance or online delivery of the CNA ECE program, who have successfully completed the required on-campus field placement at one of the CNA campuses as a requirement to completing the ECE program. Your application needs to be submitted within 6 months of successful completion of each field placement. And this bursary is essentially to sort of help you compensate for the lost pay of having to then be at the demonstration center and missing out on work. So this may offer you up to $835 per week and up to a total of $2,500 total. So there is a phone number and an email at the bottom of this poster as well. Those are will guide you to Janine, who is our financial administrator. If you have any more specific questions on any of the bursaries and grants that I spoke about, if you qualify or anything like that, please don't hesitate to reach out to her and she'll be able to give you more information on that front. And that is everything that I have for you today. Thank you so much for joining me for this Becoming an ECE information session. If you have any further questions, don't hesitate to reach out to any of us here at the offices of the Association of Early Childhood Educators in New